Everyone, I am Kamal Hubbard and welcome to Black USA Crypto News, or Black USA Crypto News. That's what it is. So we're here. It's Friday. We made it through another week. And what can I say? I'd like to thank Donnie Glover, Tamara Brown, Nicole Orr, and Doug Blacksher for welcoming me into the Black USA News family. Thank you for featuring me on all of your programs and allowing me to speak about DeFi for the Diaspora, which is my book, which talks about decentralized finance, blockchain, and cryptocurrencies. That's what this show is also about. It's about all those things and helping provide the news that you need to help you understand these concepts a lot better. Earlier this morning, I was at the DeFi app conference where I was talking about stable coins. And if you're not familiar with the concept of stable coins, what we're seeing taking place over the last few weeks is, and really just generally in crypto, there's a lot of market volatility. The assets have a lot of volatility as well. And what stable coins allow digital asset traders to do is to stave off and hedge that market volatility risk. So one of the risks that is prevalent and present in crypto is the market volatility risk, or just known as market risk. So familiarize yourself with what the risks are. You don't want to go out here not knowing what the risks are in what you're doing. Inform yourself. That's what I'm here for, is to help you get more education and information so you can be more confident around these things. And when these conversations start coming up, maybe you can add something to it and take away a little bit more as well. And by asking some of the right questions. So getting back to stable coins, there are certain types of stable coins. In particular, the one that's probably most well known are the fiat or dollar-backed stable coins. So one stable coin is equal to $1. Another type of stable coin is a commodity-backed stable coin. So a commodity such as gold, meaning a stable coin that is pegged to the price of gold, typically an ounce of gold. Another type of stablecoin is called a crypto-backed stablecoin. So they're basically using a basket of different cryptocurrencies to create a stable crypto asset. That is a somewhat complex term of stablecoin, but it even gets further because there is another type of stable asset or stable coin called algorithmic stable coins. So the price of those stable coins are determined by an algorithm. Typically, these algorithms can be dependent upon market volume or market activity. So it's not just staying at $1 or the price of some other asset out there. It's really dependent upon how many people are interacting with the network. And really, these algorithms can really just come out of I'm not going to say nowhere, but they're really determined by the developer of those assets. So where is the future of all these stable coins, and where do we see the future of stable coins lying? Well, one thing in particular to keep in mind is that central banks are going to be creating their own digital currencies, central banked digital currencies, CBDCs. So if you hear that term, CBDCs, that's what those are, which the United States actually this week discussed rolling out, a governor of the Federal Reserve announced the rollout of a digital dollar. So they are already getting that framework set up to roll out a digital dollar. So that's where the future really lies. And You guys should check out a playback of the conference as well, because some of the other things the panelists were saying about stablecoins were very, very interesting. So what I want to do now is I'd like to announce the winners of this week's book giveaway. Earlier this week, I was on Black USA News Morning Show with Donnie Glover, and I allowed 2 people to reach out to me and get 2 free copies of my book. So the winners of the free book giveaway are Elaine Fordham and Sharon Attaway. Please reach out to me, give me your address, and I will be sure to send a book out to you guys next week. Thanks again for getting in touch, and thanks for your interest in my book, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. So going a little bit more into some of the other news this week that took place in the crypto sphere. Earlier this week, also on Donnie's show, we got a chance to talk about non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. And they are going to be releasing an NFT for Whitney Houston very soon. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Also, I'm looking forward to bringing in my guest for the day. My guest is Ranzel Merritt. He is a very enterprising and talented young gentleman. He's a very multifaceted young gentleman with a successful record of accomplishments in the music industry. Throughout his journey in music, he's received a certificate of completion from the Oakland School for Arts. Also, San Francisco State University in California, he received a full ride scholarship. He also attended Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts, as well as the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music in Manhattan, New York. He's now at the California Jazz Conservatory in Berkeley, California. Ranzel began working with artists producing in the Clive Davis program at NYU. And Ranzel has played with various artists from California to New York. He's known for being a talented, creative musician, composer, and he can cover all genres of music. Ranzel is also a fashion model in the San Francisco Bay Area as well. He's worked with the Young Musicians Program at the University of California in Berkeley, the San Francisco Jazz High School All-Stars. He's an attendee of the Terry Lyne Carrington Jazz Workshop at the Berklee College of Music. He was also a full ride in doing so. He's a saxophonist and has gained attention for his rich tone and improvisational skills, which I have had the great honor of witnessing. He's performed and studied with Kenny Garrett, Roy Hargrove, Benny Maupin, Frank Foster, Ndugu Chancellor, Stevie Wonder, Jamie Foxx, Dwayne Wiggins, Raphael Sadiq, Patrice Rushen, Solange, Los Rocas, and Kehlani. He was an original member of the group Pop Life that placed fourth in the America's Got Talent TV show back in 2001. Ranzel has toured with Grammy Award winners Solange Knowles, Macy Gray, and with David Murray's big band in January of 2013. The group went on to play in Washington, D.C. at the Howard Theater and performed 3 nights at the Iridium in Times Square in New York City. The shows were broadcast in New York or on NBC Live. Ranzel is now working on releasing his music to the world with his debut album, Pretty Boy from the Ghetto, and his latest release that's called Level Up. He also wants to change the world by doing great things with his nonprofit called Roses in Concrete, which is a community school, and is also working on a cybersecurity tech startup that we'll also talk about a little later. Ranzel, thanks for taking time out of your day to join me on my first show. I'm so honored to have you on as a guest.
No, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Kamal. Can you hear me?
Yes, I absolutely can hear you. I can see you too, man. You know, obviously you're well versed. You're classically trained as a musician. I ran through your bio, but can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, so I'm from Oakland, California. Thanks again for having me on the show, Kamal. I appreciate it. It's such an honor. I'm from Oakland, California. I'm 28 years old. Born and raised. I started off playing the jazz saxophone in the 4th grade. I attended YMP, Young Musicians Program, in 6th grade to about 11th grade, which is the #1 music program in the country during the time. It's held at Cal Berkeley. Not anymore. I think it's closed down now, unfortunately. But it was a great program that brought in lots of great, jazz masters and classical masters, from Patrice Rushen to Frank Foster to Ndugu Chancellor. So those are my mentors and people who taught me and wrote my letter of recommendations for Juilliard, New School, wherever I was applying to. So great experience doing that. Then, like you said, I attended SF Jazz High School All-Stars, which is also another great experience for getting into the music world and music industry. And then I went to the New School for Jazz Contemporary Music in New York. And before that, let me not go too fast. Before that, I attended San Francisco State University, and I got a full ride. I got the John Handy Scholarship, which is the highest scholarship you can get for San Francisco State. I attended there for a semester, but it just wasn't challenged me enough. So I transferred to the New School in New York. I wanted to be more challenged. I wanted to be around the best players, best folks. And if you want to learn your craft and be around the best people in terms of any art field, that's the place to be, is New York. So I went there, awesome time, went on tour at Macy Gray, studied with Reggie Workman, who was John Coltrane's bass player. Worked at Clive Davis Studios at NYU. That was awesome, working with some artists who were accepted into that program. So that was a cool experience working at those studios. And then after that, I came back to California. I started a nonprofit called Coding Music that was held at Roses and Concrete Community School, as you mentioned, Head Royce throughout the Bay Area, Pear Tree School off in Mountain Village, a bunch of different schools. I've given back to about 120 students so far. I started Coding Music in 2017. We were licensed in 2018, the 501c3. And I've given information technology backgrounds to over 120 students from 4th grade to 12th grade so far. And it was a great experience, awesome experience. I'm still doing it. I'm doing a summer program this summer. And what we taught the kids was just basic syntax on Python and JavaScript. Because, in our community nowadays, the leading jobs are going to all be in tech. By 2030, as you were mentioning about blockchain and these new technologies emerging, we're going to have, a lot of displacement from jobs. And statistics, they're saying it's going to be like around 30 to 100 million jobs displaced. These are the stats they're giving us, right? So unfortunately, we want to make sure our Black and brown kids in our communities have a chance when this happens, because most kids who are in elementary right now are going to experience this job displacement when they get to high school or graduate high school. So we want to make sure they have an IT background or have some experience in their own coding or some type of engineering or computer science, because it's going to be really beneficial. You can make $75,000 to $120K a year without having to go to college if you have a certificate or computer science. So this is the new age we're living in, new time. Things are changing, and it's quite exciting time. Like you said, we have blockchain and AI coming. And so I found out about that during my nonprofit and studying and learning more about Python and JavaScript and neural networks, deep learning, and nodes that deal with blockchain, and then incorporating AI into blockchain. So I started a tech startup, like you said. It's called Emprise. Anyone can go to emprise.org, MPRICE.org, and you can read my white paper. You can download it. It's for free. And you can check out and learn more about my company and what it's about and what the software is about. So I created that, and I've put it on pause right now. I'm in school right now for product management. I just received my certificate for product management from Udemy, online course provider. So I'm slowly transitioning into the technology world right now as a product manager. I find it beneficial in order to really grow a startup or be in the software development process of making a startup, is understanding product development and lean startup development, and learning these like agile and scrum development tools in order to make a product very viable, so we can get money behind it. I didn't really understand maybe 2 years ago about the product development process and all the things behind it, and having a sprint backlog, catalog, and all these different things, and coordinating with your designers and engineers. So right now I'm focused on just getting into an internship or an entry level product management job right now. And that's me.
Well, you know what? I before we go on, I definitely want to talk more on the technical side of things with you and ask you a few questions as it pertains to that. But before we do that, I wanted to share a little bit of your music. This is you performing in downtown Oakland, I believe.
Okay, nice.
Bring it up. Let's see here. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
I mean, that's you on the sax, man, and obviously you have.
I appreciate
you're a great vocalist as well. So, can you talk about your two albums and what made you move away from the saxophone and be an R&B vocalist?
Okay, so I was always producing and seeing my father. He's a musician. I grew up in a music family, so I always saw music around me. I always saw my father making music. I was always around folks who are older than me who were making music, like attending YMP. For folks who know about Adrian Marcel in the Bay Area or Kaylani, folks like that, I was always around folks like that who were making music, creating. I was creating with them. So that inspired me, but I got to a point where artists weren't so serious, and I couldn't take artists serious because I would spend all this time making beats, recording, engineering, not getting paid, and these artists don't put any music out. They don't take the craft serious. And I went to school in New York, and we take our crafts seriously. So I focused on myself. It's like, man, I can do this myself. It's not that hard. I practiced, write some songs, and I did it. I put out a great EP. I spent about $10,000 to $15,000 on marketing that of my own money. That album, that EP, electronic press kit, or yeah. So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. I got it on the radio in Sacramento on 105.9 for a month. Spent a bunch of money promoting it on the radio out there. Paid for advertisement in terms of streaming on Spotify, YouTube, and I booked a few little small venue shows. Did that small meet and greets. And then after that, what else did I do with that? I really marketed. I sent it to a few A&Rs. I know I was trying to work on getting a distribution or a publishing deal, because an artist deal is really not so good nowadays, because they have so many different requirements, like the 360 requirements. And then you're not owning your masters is one thing as well. A lot of folks don't own their masters and don't know about owning their IP, their intellectual property. So understanding about, your bylaws and, putting in shotgun clauses into any agreement or anything you get offered is definitely important. And I wish I would have known it a long time ago when I was signed to a few different indie labels, and they were taking advantage of me, unfortunately. But that's how you live and learn. So I went and did that, focused on my album, put it out. It did really great online, digitally. And then I dropped another one the following year. I dropped an actual album. So my first one was an EP. It was just like 5 to 6, 7 songs, just an introduction to testing the waters, like testing like a software, like a beta. We're just trying to figure out the demographics, who's going to gravitate to that album. So I'm looking at it in terms of like developing a product. And a lot of artists need to look at their music or themselves as developing a product or a business so you can make it successful. Lots of folks are just depending on I'm going to drop this song and it's gonna go viral. No, it's not how it works. I mean, that happens. Yeah, we see folks songs go viral on TikTok or Instagram, and that's a blessing. I wish it could happen with me, but unfortunately, you have to know about developing a business for this music. Marketing is really important. That's the most important side of developing the music. Same thing with putting out the software, marketing. No one's going to know about the software or down the app, or even invest into the cryptocurrency if no one knows about it, right? So I had to learn that. Yeah, I had to learn that. I had to do that, and then COVID happened. So COVID really messed a lot of things up and put a lot of things on pause, unfortunately. And I'm still doing music this year, or maybe next year. I'm probably gonna be dropping a saxophone, more geared like saxophone. Still doing R&B, sticking on the tracks and the hooks, but more geared to doing saxophone. And it's gonna be really cool, more like an instrumental vocal album instead of more like a vocal instrumental album. So it's gonna be vice versa this time, just to explore and try out that field as well, because I know it can be a lot easier to book instrumentalists and get that going. But other than that, I'm focused on my tech career right now and getting into product development and product management and things like that. And I'll never stop doing music. I love it. I've been able to go to Panama. I've been able to tour at Macy Gray, like you said, Solange Knowles, play with Stevie Wonder at the Sheila E. Club in downtown LA, run into Jamie Foxx. He ends up playing. We get to perform with him and Raphael Sadiq. So being signed to Dwayne Wiggins, who was part of Tony for 5 to 6 years, that's how I got to meet on the street. So I can't complain. I've had a great music career. I've done a lot of things, and you read in my list, I'm like, man, I did that. I forgot I did that. So it's pretty amazing. I'm grateful. I might not have made the money that I would have made, but I've had the experience that most people would have never had. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can see on the screen, you know, someone said Stevie Wonder. Wow, you know, that's a huge accomplishment. So, you know, hey, like you said, you're not quitting on it. I don't want to see you quit. I enjoy your work and your music, and you know, I'm looking forward to what's to come. So keep up the good work. But let's definitely transition and segue into the tech side of things. I'm interested to know your story about how you got into, or what piqued your interest into blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
I've always had an infatuation with technology, and I've always been a fan of like Star Wars, Terminator, The Matrix, things like that growing up. I've always been into sci-fi, as you could say. And I always wondered, I was always infatuated with the stars and just technology period and like what's up there. And so I decided to put my effort and my mind to learning basic understandings and basic syntax of Python and JavaScript, and not necessarily knowing how to be a pro coder or intermediate coder, just knowing how to relay the terms and understand the terms as like basically as like a product manager. And that really was a big help for me. And I really learned that, wow, we're in a very interesting time. If the folks who are listening who don't know, we're in the 4th industrial revolution. This is also called the augmented age, or IoT, Internet of Things. And then maybe 10 years from now, IOU, Internet of Us, for chips and microchips inside of everything. But I've realized that this is the time we're living in. Why would I not want to study this and maybe try to get into this field? Because that's what's going to be the leading thing around the world. Technology is what runs everything, from our phone to our internet to our communication systems. So I really got into that, and really got into the idea of adding or learning artificial intelligence. I think it's so neat. Understanding that maybe we can create a machine that can have sentient thoughts and maybe a life in it, right? So I think it's pretty interesting with the Ray Kurzweil project that's coming, and 2045 project at DARPA, all these different crazy scientific and experiments that they're doing with AI and transferring the consciousness of the mind into robots or into a system is happening, and it's here. And we now finally have 5G up and running now. So that's pretty interesting. We're going to have this autonomous driving system happen in the next 5 years, where all cars, well, not all cars, but there will be an autonomous company, multiple of them, obviously, from Tesla to Waymo, scheduled driving around the US, picking up folks. So this is a really interesting time. So I was like, I need to get into AI. I need to make a tech startup. The cats you look at in the 90s, like, you know, you look at Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs, they were the .com guy. So right now, this is the time for DAOs. So this is the new time for blockchain startups. And if you're not into the DAO, like right now, you're missing out. That's all I can say. You're missing out.
So that's a term an industry term, but can you break down what a DAO stands for, what DAO stands for, and essentially what it is?
So a DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization, these are going to be the new companies that are going to be emerging in the next 10 to 15, 20 years. And they're going to be the leading companies. They're going to get rid of Facebooks, all these, well, unless these centralized companies become decentralized companies, and I'm pretty sure they will, because they don't want to get kicked out of the water or the boat. So the new age is coming. Folks need to get ready. There's going to be companies that are going to be running themselves. You know, they're not going to really need a lot of employers because they're going to have AI behind it. We're going to reach general AI by 2030, everyone. So right now there's 3 different stages of artificial intelligence for those who don't understand artificial intelligence. There's narrow AI, there's general AI, and then there's super AI, which is the last AI, right? So narrow AI is what we're using now. People think narrow AI is not too advanced, but it actually really is. You know, you can look at from a standpoint of the Iraq war, where we're using narrow AI on drones to strike our enemies. So that seems like a pretty advanced system from a robot to be able to find the enemy and then attack it. That's narrow AI. And general AI is when the robot or the software system will have the same thought process as a human. We'll be on the same thought process or capability at the human level. And that's going to be pretty scary because the average human IQ is 98. So the computer is going to be 98 or to 140. It's going to be really smart. And then when that happens, theorists and scientists say, in the next 5 months to 5 years, that computer will go from general AI to super AI because it's now understanding like a human, and it has so much more capacity than our brains, and it can hold so much more, right? So it's a very interesting time. I want to get into AI, make a tech startup that can hopefully have a great impact and a positive impact on the world. It's called enterprise.org, or it's called Merit Enterprise Software and Applied Sciences. That's what the enterprise stands for. And it deals with adding blockchain, which is the #1 software right now, and then AI. Everyone's talking about AI and blockchain right now, cryptocurrencies and AI, right? That's the main thing everyone's talking about. And then obviously augmented reality and virtual reality. Those are the main three, scientific topics besides nanotechnology. Nanotechnology in the bio world is very popular as well. But the main things both people are focusing on is those 3 aspects of technology, and they're going to be the next big thing. So if you hop on it now, create a tech startup, or focus on building something, a MVP, a minimum viable product, you can get something going. And I think it's a great case. I think everyone should try to make a tech startup or make some type of business or startup, whether it's makeup. Just, I feel like the world is too controlled with people thinking they need to go to get a 9 to 5, right? And I feel like people can get a 9 to 5. I'm going to get a 9 to 5, but my long-term goal is to obviously be an entrepreneur and own my own business and not work for anyone. So I feel like it's a perfect time for everyone to hop on this wave of becoming a crypto investor or making a startup or whatever you're going to do. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. And when in my book, I actually talk about how all these things are converging. AI is converging with blockchain. The Internet of Things is converging with AR, VR, and how we're actually moving into a spatial web. So, and then you were saying what you're kind of piggybacking off what you were saying, we're going from a web being on our laptops and our computers to being all around us. And then at one point, it's going to actually be inside of us, right? So I don't want to get too far off there. Yeah, because, it gets off into science fiction to a certain extent. But in the next 10 years or 5 to 10 years, like you're talking about, this could be a reality, and we're facing real questions that we need to reconcile with technology. One of the questions I saw Donnie put up here is AI in music. I know I've been seeing some projects with AI in music. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, they are now making computers and robots develop and produce music, and it's quite interesting that these robots are now painting, they're creating beats on Ableton and different programs, and you can basically program AI to do anything you want. You just have to get the data and build the neural networks, and add some regression, then you're good. So So I think it's a quite scary time and an interesting time, because at the end of the day, I believe music should be created by humans. It's cool if you want a robot to create music for you, but it's not going to have the spiritual, the essence, and you're not going to feel the soul essence in your heart necessarily. Because when you hear someone else sing or create something, whether it was created digitally, it's going to be felt different when an AI creates something digitally versus a human creates something digitally. So I don't think I would ever use AI to create music. I would have to use AI to create digital models for, like, software or buildings, or creating a better vaccine for a virus. But I don't think I would incorporate that type of technology with music. Some things I feel like art or some things in life should be left alone, and should just be left to the beauty of mankind and us using that for ourselves. That's our way of expression, and I feel like the AI has another way of expression. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Part of the interesting thing about DAOs, so going back to decentralized autonomous organizations, they, like you said, they have the ability to carry out either a corporate purpose or a nonprofit purpose. And I mean, in the sense of a corporate purpose, we already know that corporations are in place to make a profit, right?
Yeah.
However, the human element of all that is sometimes where things go wrong. The human element of greed, in particular. So, I guess this is more of a philosophical question to a certain extent. Are DAOs capable of maximizing returns, but still being conscious enough to not have a factor of greed within them?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I would say it all goes on who is running our companies and who's on the board, and what the development process for that company is. Because whoever invests into the company is going to have some sort of say so or what's next. And if you're the CEO and you don't own 51.7% of the company, you really don't have any say so. So if a DAO does get taken over by the board and they're of malicious intent, it could be really greedy, and it could definitely change and make people bring poverty. You can do anything with these DAOs. I mean, the thought process is endless on what you can use a decentralized autonomous organization. You just put the AI to work, because once general AI is here, DAOs are going to be skyrocketing. That's how .com hit. So, 9 years from now, DAOs are going to be the biggest thing in the world. So, I say it's based on the CEO who's running the company and what their thought process is, and if they have a good heart or a bad heart, right? That's how I look at it. Yeah,
100%. I mean, I think there's so much breadth in terms of discussing this. It's essentially a codable company to a certain extent. So anything someone wants to code into this DAO, they can do it. And like you said, if they are malicious, they can code that malice right into the company. Something too that comes up quite often that I see with artificial intelligence is bias, right? And bias actually playing itself out against us in the Black community. Can you maybe talk about your experience with this, whether it's personal or what you've come across in the news?
Yes, I can definitely say AI in a world of computer science is very biased in terms of just who's running that world in that field. I had to say that more people of Black and Brown probably need to come together and maybe build their own, more startups and tech startups. That's why I was saying it's a great time to be an entrepreneur and build something that's going to be worth it. Worth it. And that's pretty much really all I can really say too much about that, because we don't really run that world, as you can say, as you see, but we can also help and start our own, We have Afro Tech now. We have different types of festivals that are coming together for Black tech startups and Black entrepreneurs who are making multi-millions. They're on Series A, Series B, Series C with their startups. So it's slowly happening to where we're going to make a big impact, I would say, soon. I would say by 2030, it's going to be a big change, because the biggest smart cities in the world will be in Africa. That's one thing we need to realize. We have Akon building the Akon city right now. You can move there by 2025, 2026. That's right around the corner. And it's going to get too crowded here. And we already know statistics say that the biggest and best smart cities are going to be in Africa, because that's where the most free land and open land is at right now. So things are going to change. We're going to have our Wakandas. We're going to have all that. We're going to have everything, you know what I'm saying, pretty soon. So I should say Black folks need to get more educated in terms of the technology world, and stop worrying about so much about the flashy world, you know, buying chains, trying to be an artist, and that, blah, blah. It's cool and all. I was an artist, but I really went to school for jazz and music and actually studied real music. And that's what the problem is. It's the media. It's the social media. It's these companies that we're just talking about right now. They're putting out these messages. Like, you look at TikTok, there's so much negativity on TikTok, and it's so much bad influence for young minds. And so all these kids have TikTok, and they're seeing all this inappropriate behavior on TikTok, and it doesn't really make any sense. So this is influencing our communities, you know. And it started off from MySpace to Facebook, to Instagram, to TikTok and Twitter, etc. Now these companies, like, you know, they take our data, they use our data against us, and like I said, we need to create our own startups, our own social medias, our own everything, because at this point we have no control, really, because folks' content's getting taken down on TikTok and Instagram. If you talk about stuff like this, if you talk about you know, maybe going against the political views of the world, your video will get taken down. You will get demonetized on YouTube, even like folks who talk about, you know, forbidden knowledge, ancient history sites, and ancient technology. Why are they being demonetized when they're just talking about ancient history? It doesn't make any sense, right? So it's something going on, and it's something that we need to do. We need to put our own foot down and create our own platforms. You know, that's what we need to do.
100%. I mean, this is an opportunity, right? I mean, there is some degree of old thinking that says, hey, go to school, get a degree, get a job, and you'll be straight. But
that's
the way things...
That's the work. That's the work for somebody, and keep working for somebody, and you're never going to really build generational wealth, you know, inside that community. There is no generational wealth inside the Black community, because we haven't built any infrastructure. We have Black millionaires and a few billionaires, but these Black millionaires aren't coming together and maybe using blockchain, like we just talked about, to maybe create a system that's going to build infrastructure, financial infrastructure in our communities throughout the U.S. You know, someone has to come together and use the technology. This is the time. We have technology, we can do it, you know. So I definitely agree with you, not to cut you off.
No. I mean, we're of the same mind when it comes to that. And I mean, we, just like you're saying, we need to move away from being consumers of this technology to, once again, being producers, creators, founders of new technology. And I mean, when we look at so much that has been given to this country from our community, whether it's culture, food, all these things that have been monetized and have not been leveraged, like you said, to build the proper infrastructure. So, you know, as we kind of move away from that old mindset and that old thinking, and like you said, you don't need to go to college anymore to earn six figures. You just need to learn this technology, and most of the technology is open source. Right. So why don't you touch on what open source technology is, and why now, once again, is a perfect time for people to kind of make the shift?
Open source technology is available for anyone to go learn and have access to. Like GitHub is a great website where you can upload your white paper or examples of coding, and it's open source for people to go through the code, look through the code and learn it and copy it and learn it themselves without having to go to college or pay $200,000 to learn computer science. You can now go to Udacity.com. You can go to Product School. You can go to Udemy. There's so many online resources now, and even physical places you can go to. Take a class, get a certificate in it, and know the technology.
There you go. There you go. So, I want to take things back to blockchain and crypto. I was started off the show talking about stable coins, and are you interested in any stable coins, or what's your general idea and thought about them?
I would say I would invest in the top 10 coins, or no, I'll say top 1 to maybe 30. Because you can look at crypto.com and it's going to give you ranks for each coin, right? And you also want to look at the market value cap. And so obviously Bitcoin has the highest market value cap, I believe, right? And then Ethereum is second, and then et cetera, right? Then Dogecoin is what, I don't know, maybe 7 right now. And then you have Shiba Inu, that's what, ranked 26 or 31. You have all these different cool coins that you can invest into and check out. And I think it's really, I think it's a great time for everyone to hop on Dogecoin right now. That's what's going crazy right now. Get some Dogecoin, everyone, get some Shiba Inu. It's a great time. I got in on Dogecoin 3 years ago, and I own over 25,000 coins. So it's a great time to invest in that and grow and double your money. And that's what I would say for stable coins. Look at the coins that have the highest market value cap. And then you can also go to crypto.com or different websites and see which one's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's some coins that are ranked at 87, 90, but eventually they might get up to 40, 50. So just look out for different coins and see their yearly return and their yearly stats and invest. It's an important time to get on the stable coins and to make some important money, because folks who invest into Bitcoin, 8 years ago and 9 years ago, are now Bitcoin millionaires because they bought it when it was so low. So this is a perfect time for everyone to buy Dogecoin while it's at 30 cents, 33 cents. Get Shiba Inu while it's not even a cent. Get whatever, you know what I'm saying? what is it? XLM or XRP? Those are like $1. And that other one's like
well, so what I want to say on my show is, all of this, what we're talking about with crypto and, these different projects this is for informational use only. This is not investment advice. It's not legal advice or tax advice. We're just here to have fun, and nobody wants to be the guy who said, oh, hey, get whatever coin, and then the next day it loses 50%, right? And then somebody comes after you upset or mad or worse, And I know, see, this is a thing, like there's so many people in this space who are so passionate about cryptocurrencies because, no one really in my lifetime has seen assets be able to appreciate at such a high rate in such a short amount of time. So, but the other good thing, once again, about the show is, this is the first time maybe somebody has even heard about Dogecoin. And so my question to you is, what is Dogecoin?
They would say it's a meme currency. That's what they would call it today. That's what made it popular, from making memes and putting it here and there all throughout social media. And also just the popularity of coin. We know that however many people invest into the coin gives the value of the coin, right? So that's what that Dogecoin is, guys. It's just a meme coin, and however many people invest into it gives it the value of that coin.
So, it's interesting because I I like you. I got into Doge so many years ago, and to a certain extent, I didn't have diamond hands like you did. I really looked at it and I'm like, it's a meme coin. It's a joke. Let me go into projects that, have more of a value proposition. And now look at me, like I have no Dogecoin and people are having a great time with it. And to me, in the spirit of crypto, I think it's really great. It's really cool. But I also had a conversation with an economist who said, Dogecoin, in the way that it operates, its very low inflationary rate is something that should be looked at because it's better than a central bank currency in the fact that it has a fixed interest rate. What are your thoughts on that?
On the fixed interest rate, I would say I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Repeat the
No
question.
problem. Well, no, you know how there's so many Dogecoin, right? And like people can continue to mine Dogecoin essentially, I think, into infinity, right?
Yeah.
But you can only mine it at a certain rate. Like,
Right.
It's not like the United States or the US dollar where when they need to print money, okay, hey, it's time to print money. Let's print some money, guys, right?
I get you. I didn't understand at first. So yeah, I would say it's based on the internet. It's based on the speed. It's based on the technology. And that's why Elon Musk is trying to create, or he's trying to throw a million or thousands of satellites all around the earth, so we have free internet. And supposedly that will give Bitcoin not Bitcoin, but blockchain miners who are mining all types of cryptocurrencies faster speed, and we'll be able to create more coins, and the value of that coin will go up a lot more. And also, he was also talking about maybe taking Dogecoin or Dogecoin as a payment for Tesla. So, and then if Coinbase maybe accepts Dogecoin or Dogecoin, how do you guys pronounce? I don't know how you pronounce it, but
tomato,
that would take right. Yeah, that would take the value of that coin up to a whole nother level. So, if Coinbase is very big, popular, cryptocurrency platform accepts this coin like blockchain just did, then it's going to go up, I feel like maybe to $1. And then if Tesla accepts it, it might hit maybe $2 or $5, and I just think that's what that's about with cryptocurrencies. It's really about the technology and the speed of the internet, and how many transactions you can upload with blockchain and creating the nodes on blockchain when you're creating, the Genesis block to the hash and the digital signature when you're creating these coins. So I definitely just need faster technology. We have 5G coming here now, so things are gonna definitely progress faster, and these coins might skyrocket. And like you were saying earlier, we might leave the fiat system to a digital system in the next 15 to 20 years. It might not happen right now, but I would say in the next 15 to 20 years, people might not even need cash, and they're not even accepting cash right now because of COVID. We don't take cash. People are scared of cash. So things are changing, I would say.
The only constant is change. So yes, things are changing. They're changing rapidly. And, once again, all the more reason for people to get information and inform themselves rather than letting somebody else inform you, I do want to go back a second. You're talking about Dogecoin, and you said it's a meme coin. So I guess maybe can we talk about meme coins just for a second, like what they are, what they represent or can represent, and once again, why are they popular?
Right. So it was one guy or two cats who created Dogecoin as a joke, literally as a joke. They created, coded, and dropped this coin, and was accepted on Robinhood and a few other where you can buy crypto, or sites where you can buy crypto on. And it wasn't taken serious at all. Like you said, no one really cared about it at all. And then Russia accepted it as a form of payment 4 years ago. When it first came out, like Russia accepted it as a form of payment. So when I saw Russia accept it, I was like, okay, this is going to be a very important coin to pay attention to, because the U.S. hasn't even accepted it as a form of payment. Now people are, like, certain companies are taking Dogecoin now to buy cars or buy a house, etc. now, because it's getting the same popularity as Bitcoin. But it started off as a meme with a dog. And this dog meme was posted everywhere with like funny jokes, like it could be the dog sliding down a water slide with or the human sliding down the water slide with the Doge dog head on the human's head, right? Yeah. And all these different crazy memes of this dog was posted everywhere. And so it became really popular. And then the market value of that coin was getting really high. So once people saw that, it was a really good coin to jump into and hop into. And like I said, once I saw that Russia accepted it as a coin for payment, why would I not want to invest in this coin? And that was 4 years ago, maybe, I believe. So that's what made it popular. And then you have other coins that are meme coins, like the Shiba Inu. That's another meme coin, where it's like it's like a baby dog or a fox or something like that. And they're posting this Shiba Inu meme everywhere, from Twitter to Tumblr to Instagram. And they're just making cool pictures, and memes are just cool pictures of different things and adding them together. That's what they are. And sometimes memes can move, or they're just a picture. And that's how these became popular, just from repost, like, tag, repost, tag, like, over and over and over from thousands of different users on different platforms. And that gave the value of the coin what it is today, because the more people knew about it, the more people were going to invest into it. And like we talked, what makes the value of any coin is how many people are invested into that coin on the blockchain. So that's why that coin is really popular right now. You see Elon Musk tweeting out, "Give me ideas for Dogecoin," but the other day. So something's about to happen with this certain cryptocurrency coin. They're saying it's going to be bigger than Bitcoin, but there were theories, a year or 2 years ago, that Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million one day. So all these coins might eventually hit 100,000, 500,000, or $1 million for one coin one day, maybe 20, 30 years from now, right? So it's an excellent time to hop on this new form of currency in the world. Because like I said, we are slowly transitioning from the fiat system, coins and paper. We're not going to be using that. Before that, we were doing trading. We would trade certain food or assets that we had before we had a currency system, right? And then we had coins. We took, silver and gold, melted it down into coins, and had paper that gave it back by value of gold, right? Or whatever the commodity was that backed that dollar. So now things are changed now, because you don't even have enough gold to back what's out there today. This paper that we have in our pockets doesn't mean anything really. So at any point, the government could drop a digital coin. It could be called the U.S. digital coin, and then that's your money could go from that to you could cash it in and get it all in digital on this U.S. digital token coin. And so the government could do that any day, and that would change the market forever. But the government's not going to do that, because the system's ran on a blockchain system. And blockchain, you can't do illegal stuff on the blockchain because of end-to-end encryption. It's the most advanced system. We've had it since the 90s. For those of folks who don't know who blockchain is, blockchain started off as a Web 1.0 in the 90s. We had blockchain back then, but we didn't have the speed and technology to make decentralized applications today and to create and to obviously mine Bitcoin, right? Or different cryptocurrencies. So now, like Kamal was saying earlier, we're going to go to this different space of internet. It's going to be called Web 3.0, where right now we're in Web 2.0. So when Web 3.0 happens in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to happen pretty soon, because 5G is already here. We're not going to have apps anymore on our phone. It's just going to be maybe one AI that you're going to just talk to, and it's going to bring that app up, and that's going to be the new internet. You're going to say, "Hey Siri," or "Hey Alexa," whatever AI. There's going to be probably like 3 or 4 artificial intelligence assistants that dominate the world, and whoever you subscribe to or go to, you're going to be say to your phone, "Take me to Twitter," and it's going to go boom, right to Twitter. You're not going to click on an app anymore, and these phones are going to change. Apple's putting out the augmented AR glasses next year, where you won't need a phone. They already released the Apple Watch, where you can pay for that. You don't need a phone. You can just talk to it, and et cetera, et cetera. So things are changing. It's a great time to be alive. We're going to see lots of beautiful pros and cons of technology. Life extension is coming now. We now have these life extension beds now that these companies are creating that you can sit into that get rid of Alzheimer's and cure your cells. We have stem cell research. So it's just the time of technology, and it's a great, important time to be alive. Eat well, work out, y'all. Experience this.
Take it, have a drink every now and then too. I mean, take a load off, but you're right. We should still take care of ourselves, even though this technology is going to be there to extend life and